Here's a hike into the Puente Hills in the Whittier area of Southern California. This one about 4 miles in length and about a 400-foot elevation gain. The trailhead is off of Turnbull Canyon Road in the city of Whittier. The trail climbs up Turnbull Canyon up to a ridge line, and then it loops around and comes back to the original trail to travel on back down to the trailhead. And here is the trailhead, along with the usual kiosk and map. And there's also this rather strange sign posted along the roadside. It says there is no stopping any time, while at the same time it says don't leave any valuables in your vehicle. And so Dale gets us started up the trail, which at this point is actually a quite wide service road. And it's also posted to let us know that this is in fact the Turnbull Canyon Trail. Following alongside this road is this dry creek bed. That is mostly dry creek bed, as we did find some little bit of water here and there. There are also numerous signs along the roadway telling us that don't leave the trail, for environmental protection of the area. And then Jack ambles his way on along up the trail. Luckily, we found ourselves with a pretty nice day to make this hike. Not too hot, not too cold, and with lots of sunshine. And then Dale stops for a minute along the trail to check out the area. And then we find this strange-looking little gadget installed along the way. Actually, it's a camera, of all things. Along with this sign that says, Biological Resources Discipline is conducting research in the area on the ecology, movement, and activity patterns of bobcats in the Puente Hills. Guess we'll have to keep our eyes open for bobcats. As we continue on up the trail, we are bypassed by this bicyclist. We saw quite a few bicyclists on this trip. And then at a point about 3/4 of a mile from our start, we ran across an intersection with the Sumac Trail. We're going to continue on the Turnbull Canyon Trail, however. As it continues on the side hill, climbing out of the canyon, where we can turn around and look back down Turnbull Canyon from where we have come. And then we get a pretty good view of the ridge line that we're climbing on up to. It also gives us a chance to get a pretty good look at these Puente Hills. Not really high or remote mountains, but they're enough to be somewhat of a challenge. And as you can see, once out of the canyon bottom, it's mostly quite open country. A much better fall hike rather than a midsummer one. We can also look out in the distance and take a look at the downtown buildings of Los Angeles. And once on the ridge line, the trail continues on, going up towards the power lines. And here Dale makes his way on up towards the top of a knoll. This was our first hike in quite a while, so these hills seem to be a little bit higher than usual. And then we reach the base of one of these high voltage power towers. But then the trail continued on up, where we can look back and see the tower and a pretty good shot of Turnbull Canyon down below. On the side hill above Turnbull Canyon Road follows the same basic route that the trail does down below. And then we can look up on the side hills on the other side of the canyon and see those hilltops, along with many of the trails and roads that are in these Puente Hills. And then we can look out over the San Gabriel Valley in the distance and see the San Gabriel Mountains beyond. At one point we can look down in a small adjacent canyon and see a home nestled in the bottom. A rather scary place to be living in this brush fire country. We traveled along this ridgetop road for a ways with a chance to admire some pretty good views, such as this one looking again out over the San Gabriel Valley and along with the San Gabriel Mountains out in the background. At one point along this trail we ran across this man-made pond, and with water dripping in it from a pipe at one end of the pond. Have no idea of its source. But then we branched off onto a trail that would take us back down into Turnbull Canyon. At one point we could look back and see that tower that we had passed by on our way up. At another point we looked up and saw what looked like a smoke cloud looming up over the hills. We never did find out, however, what it was, as it quite soon disappeared. And then it was on down the rest of the Turnbull Canyon Trail to get to our car near the trailhead, and after a quite pleasant hike.